We often get feedback indicating that people say they can't take part in my exercise because they can't get down on the floor or kneel comfortably. Today, we'll address all of that. You'll learn exactly what steps you can take to kneel again, get back to the ground, and rise up confidently. No matter how old you are, it has nothing to do with age. First, I'll explain the issue with pain in the knee when kneeling. Many think it's innate or they just have sensitive knees. That's not the case. That's something you can train. Do you want to know why? Take a look. Come in close now. Check it out here. This is the shin bone roughness. What does that mean? The quadriceps, this large muscle here on the thigh, goes over the kneecap and is attached here to the bone. And the moment when there is too much tension on this muscle, which tends to affect many people, the bone becomes extremely sensitive due to certain receptors in the area becoming increasingly sensitive. And that means if there's too much tension and you kneel down, then you have, ouch, that hurts, I can't kneel. If you loosen it up again, it will diminish up to the point where you can kneel even on the hard floor. Yes, kneeling on the hard floor is no problem. It hurts a little bit, but it doesn't matter at all because it's not especially sensitive, since the muscle isn't particularly sensitive for me. And the second problem is that many can no longer get down to the floor. Look, when I stand, I'm like this. When I'm going down, everything really has to loosen up and relax so I can eventually get all the way down and lie on the ground. The issue at hand is that older people, because they no longer squat down or lower their bodies properly as they once did, gradually cause the muscle to shorten more and more over time. Sometimes there are toilet seat risers because they can no longer sit properly on the toilet. They're half standing on the toilet because everything's become so shortened. Thus, we clearly need to focus on exercising that muscle again. Extend it, make it more flexible and smoother so that you can descend smoothly and then comfortably lie on your back, kneel down, or whatever you wish to do. Very easy to solve. And the best part is, once we solve it, the strength returns to the legs. Because many older people mention that they feel too weak in the legs. They can't move around properly anymore because the coordination just isn't right anymore. Where does that come from? It comes from the muscle being way too short, having way too much tension, nerves getting pinched, not transmitting properly anymore. And that leads many patients, after I've treated them, to say, hey, great result, now I can feel my legs better. I've regained more strength now because full functionality and mobility are back. If you really want to comprehend how significant and impactful these positive effects can be, take a detailed look at the video about knee pain with Mrs. Khan here. This is going to blow your mind, I'm warning you. I'll provide the explanation and Ina will demonstrate what actions you can take to effectively solve the problem. By the way, I'm Roland Liebscher Bracht, and my vision is to enable everyone, including you, to live a pain-free life, and Ina helps me with that. All right, here's exactly what you should do. Lie down flat on your stomach, and then for demonstration purposes, we will begin with the left leg. Make sure to do your best to pull your heel towards your buttocks. Most people can only get to about here, or perhaps just a bit further. Everything up front is just too tight, lacking the necessary flexibility. Pull, Ina, see how far you can go. Look, now you've automatically lifted your hip. What does that indicate? It means when the foot needs to be pulled to that spot, the hip naturally lifts, as this movement facilitates the action and makes it easier. However, that should not happen. That's the very first mistake. So, carry out this test. Have your partner carefully observe how far you can really go. Actually, you should be able to actively pull your foot up to this point, and passively, it should easily come up to your buttocks. Then you have optimal function of the thigh muscles, which allows you to get on your knees comfortably. You're not sensitive, you can lower yourself, you possess both strength and control. But how do you get to that point now? By just taking your hand and giving it a pull? The issue, however, is that the majority of people find themselves unable to do it. They manage to do it solely by bending their hips again, and then they just barely reach the goal. You should absolutely never do that. Do you know why? When the hip is bent and lifts up here at the front in the groin area, then you really can't bring the groin down afterwards. That means the rule is the groin must stay down. You really have to remember that. The groin must stay down at all times. And how are we going to solve the issue of the arm being too short? Well, it's really quite simple. We just make it longer. There you go. And now the arms are sufficiently long so you can keep pulling continuously without raising the groin area. It's important not to raise the groin. If you feel sufficient effect here already, then that's perfectly fine. Nevertheless, it can indeed be quite advantageous to do the following. Let's get going, Ina. Gently lift your knees slightly so that you can slide our Medi roller under it, or perhaps use a few books that have the suitable height. However, first, gently come down with your groin, and once your groin is completely lowered, that's the moment you should start to pull. But Ina, be careful not to lift the groin, and now you can see, look, now comes Ina, who used to reach all the way up to here, but is currently only reaching up to here instead, because it's elevated, and now it becomes efficient. This is actually the exercise where we say this is a really great exercise. They quickly help you out of this issue. Then you pull slowly, more and more. Then you'll feel a strong pull in your thighs, practice it daily, and it will gradually improve. That's the way to address the problem effectively. Your knee becomes increasingly less sensitive when kneeling. You'll be able to get down easily because you regain the necessary length you need. Also, you'll of course need practice too, but as you practice, it keeps improving. And the strength in your legs sees improvement over time, even without spending any minute on dedicated muscle or strength training. That's simply because the muscle is functioning better and more efficiently again.